welcome back to GP Fast Forward, and this week we've got a double feature for you. First up, we've got the long-awaited 30-minute mission Steel Haze from Armored Core 6. Built entirely off of the Schneider Nachtreicher frame, this is one of the sleekest and most iconic ACs from the entire franchise, up there with White Glint, Zenaida, and even Nineball in my opinion. Nightfall may be the poster AC for this game, but Steel Haze is truly the one who stole our hearts.
Hey buddy.
Kicking things off with the manual, you can tell they put a lot of love and care into this. It's laid out with the same font and graphics used in-game, with company logos and product designations highlighted for each part. They even went as far as redesigning the usual warning messages in other manuals into error messages you usually get when your AC is built wrong. Regarding the build itself, it's fairly intuitive and highly detailed. A lot of areas that would normally show a large, difficult to sand nub mark have panels that go on top and cover them up. Going into the articulation, it's pretty standard. There's a single ball joint in the neck, with a peg rotation at the base, no hinge in the core connector, probably for the best, and a single ball joint connecting this to the waist area. The shoulders are on recessed ball joints that can come out to get increased range, and the shoulders themselves look like they'd be impeded by the armor, but they get an impressive range here since the covering is on a separate C-clip. Full rotation at the upper arm, and just a little over 90 degrees for the elbow. No wrist articulation because the hand actually extends about a third of the way into the forearm, but this actually allows weapon handling to be so much more stable since a lot of them run fairly large. For the legs, there's a single ball joint in the thighs in the same manner as the shoulders, which can also be pulled out for more range. No joint in the upper leg casing like in-game, but there is a double hinge for the stabilizer wings, and about 90 degrees in the knees, though only one of these hinges here works and the piston is, of course, purely decoration. The ankles have some slight side-to-side rotation, and the bird feet have minor forward-back movement. On paper, it seems pretty bare bones. You can still get some dynamic, stable poses out of this kit. As much as I love the detail in the Kotobukiya variable infinity line, you really don't see this balance of posability and stability there. The lack of polycaps does worry me for how well these poses will hold in the long run, though. As for accessories, Steel Haze has its standard loadout of the Sampu burst handgun, the Ransetsu burst rifle, the VVC 703 plasma missile launcher, and last, but definitely not least, the VVC 774 laser slicer, in both its stationary and deployed states, plus beam effects. It also comes with back mounts, which may be one of my only 3 real complaints. There's only one back weapon mount included for the right side, and only one weapon rack for the left side. Considering how the back weapons in this kit as well as the weapon set are reversible, I thought for sure each AC would come with one for each side, or at least the option to build them for whichever side you want. Another issue is the coloration. It is baffling that they had the colors so spot on in the prototype images, but shifted to a brown colorway for the legs right before they released the kit. I understand that it's technically closer to the color palette that we see in-game when you use Steel Haze's schematic, but it still just looks kinda off. My final issue is definitely just nitpicking. The face on the Nachtreicher head has safety edges on the sides and chin. It is, just like with V-Fins, to protect any younger modelers as well as to mitigate any damage to the kit itself in transit. But you definitely have to put in some extra work to get it close to looking game accurate. A bit of GM18 on the sensor unit definitely helps too, or even using GM17 as a base layer with a bit of XGM205. I did have GM17 on this for most of the review because I love blue sensors, but these two colors are a little more accurate to in-game. Despite these gripes, I am overall blown away by the kit and finally happy to have it in my hands. For the price point, I still feel like alternate hanger units, a little more articulation in some areas, and maybe an assault boost back part would have been fair, but the end result is a stable build that's a fantastic start to the Armored Core 30-minute missions line. Here's hoping the Kotobukiya one will be just as impressive, considering it's going to be double the size of this thing. Thanks for watching!
Initializing ORC firing sequence. Sighting correction A-OK. 90, 95. I won't miss.